Hello and welcome to 32 Jackpot Marketing Secrets of History's Greatest and Craziest Persuaders with David Lowenthal. I am David Lowenthal, and today we are going to be talking about true legend in direct response marketing, possibly the best in all direct response marketing or even persuasion history. This is the guy who has created memorable ad after memorable ad after memorable ad and sales letters and classifieds and all sorts of things, tear out sheets, direct mail, all sorts of things, online sales letters, all sorts of ads, big and small and in between. I am talking about the late great Gary Halbert. Now, if you've never heard of Gary Halbert and you're watching this, after you're done, I highly recommend looking him up. He's got some videos on YouTube. He's got all sorts of articles across the web. Gary Halbert Letter was his long-time weekly or monthly newsletter starting in the 80s, going up to his untimely unfortunate death in the late 2000s. Anyway, lots of good stuff there. But today we're going to be talking about Gary Halbert, and today we're going to be talking about a very, very specific Gary Halbert ad. His most unique ad, I think, ever, and possibly one of the best ads I've ever read in my life. And I've read a lot of great advertisements, but unlike a lot of the sales letters and advertisements he's written, this one we're going to be focusing on is actually a classified ad, and it is a classified ad for himself. This is Gary Halbert selling Gary Halbert, specifically Gary Halbert selling Gary Halbert to women. It is a classified ad because not many younger millennial types like me, never kind of used this method of dating or anything, but back in the day, a lot of how people met each other through media was classified ads in newspapers saying bird watching man seeks bird watching woman, or vice versa, or curious book reader, or crazy in bed woman seeks equally crazy in bed man. All these things, they'd be in the back of newspapers. They usually just be like little squares with maybe one or two like little sentences and then how to contact them. But Gary Halbert did quite possibly the best classified ad ever written. And according to his recollection afterward, it got him a book deal, it got him a movie deal, it's got him all sorts of fame and recognition, and not by happenstance, happened to get him to be able to date some of the hottest women in Los Angeles just from this one ad. And it wasn't because he was trading off the name Gary Halbert. Nobody, most people outside of marketing didn't know who he was, so he wasn't trading on some kind of fame. It was strictly because of his ability to sell in mass media, aka write really, really, really good copy. And so I want to talk to you about that ad and some of the reasons why I think it's absolutely effective. So the ad is called, the title of the ad is "Generous Creative Businessman Wants to Find a Hot, Sexy Woman with a Good Sense of Humor." Okay, so it's a great headline. And in my last video I was talking about great headlines with the Drudge Report. It doesn't necessarily have to be out there, but it kind of has some contrast, like generous creative businessman wants to find hot sexy woman with a good sense of humor. So he's throwing in a bunch of different elements there, curiosity, contrast, to get people to read the rest of the ad, which he does here in a really excellent way. And one of the things he talks about so it's broken up into various sections. So, but not too long after the ad begins, he talks about kind of the previous women that he had dated, but he gives them kind of fun nicknames, almost like Trump gives people fun nicknames. It helps people kind of remember him. And he's not using this to kind of dog on them specifically. He's using these kind of names and these gimmicks to describe the type of women he doesn't want to date. So, for instance, he talks about Zelda the Princess, who's a 26-year-old Jewish lady who waltzed into my office and immediately informed me, before I had the chance to say hello, that she wanted me to write an ad for her, that she wanted to go to bed with me. Okay, so that's Zelda the Princess. Then we have Sherry the Tragic. We have Karen the would-be prostitute. We have Claudia the actress. And so he goes into little stories about what each of these women did and why he doesn't like them, and why, if you were like these women, he's not a good fit. So it's very creative. And then he goes, then he has another sub-headline that goes into 7 things Gary does not want from a woman. And then he goes, drug dramas, desperate dilemmas, marriage, not, he doesn't want to be a sexual swinger. All these different things, and he brings in little details, little stories that help illuminate the situation, but also says more about him. And the whole time it's keeping the reader engaged. It's keeping the reader there. It is such an ingenious way to write, not just a classified ad, but really anything. I mean, you're talking about different types of persuasion here. You're using stories. You're using contrast. You're using curiosity, and these are elements that I always try to hit home with, because they keep people engaged. He's not just listing a bunch of dry facts. So when anyone asks me, like, what's the best Gary Halbert ad to study, and you're not going to lose by choosing a Gary Halbert ad to study, but I like this one because it's the most effective. So study this great ad and find out find these things that make the ads stand out. And you can use it in love, you can use it in life, and the whole great point of this video is that you can use copywriting in all aspects of your life. And this is just one aspect of writing great copy, because great copy is great persuasion. So thank you for joining me today, and tune in next time for the next jackpot marketing secret in this series, 32 jackpot marketing secrets from history's greatest persuaders.